Welcome back to Screen Preach for episode 59. And that's 59, not 58. I noticed that when I put up the poll for what I should do this week, I put 58, episode 58. Meanwhile, that same day, I put up the clip for episode 58, which already came out. So yeah, 59 is where we're at. It's actually pretty wild to think that I just keep doing it. Every week we're back. Hey, what the hell, man? What the hell? Keep it going. You know? It's fun. It's fun. Good stuff, you know? I noticed a couple of things. Last week, I was, like, trying to figure out Loki at the same time I was trying to recap it for everybody, and I just went way too long. Just, like, 20 minutes of just riffing. I'll do a recap this week, you know, nice and smooth and tight. Just tighter, you know? What is that? Knocked up? Tighter. We can't legally ask you to lose weight. Just tighten it up. So yeah, I will definitely, I'll do it nice and smoothly. Yeah, so welcome back to the show for the 59th episode where we talk about film and television, books, gaming, and all the other kind of pop culture things that we can fit into an hour in the name of the Godfather, the Son of Odin, and the Holy Jedi. Because those true cinephiles out there know that this is our religion, right? It's what we... Was that the dog? Yeah. So what's going on? It's hot. You know, living in California for the first time, like, for over a year now, it's crazy how the seasons just roll into each other out here, because the weather's pretty much the same. So, like, I said to myself the other day, it's summer, and I was like, you know what? Fuck, shit. Yeah, it is summer. Fucking Christ. It's summer already. How did this happen? Isn't this it? This is summer 2021 right here. This is the COVID Project X summer, right? Everybody's going wild now. Somebody brought up a good point on one of the podcasts that I listened to about how it's weird that, like, it's weird that we're not just all the way open, you know, because of the whole vaccine. And by that, it's like this idea that the people who got vaccinated to get things moving again, and the people who didn't get vaccinated are anti-vax, and they just don't care either way. So there's no who are the restrictions for anymore? You know what I mean? And that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. It's like, well, you have to be aware that you got vaccinated, but you can still give it to people. Okay, but who are you giving it to? People that aren't vaccinated? They chose not to be vaccinated, right? They don't just... It's an interesting thing to think about. It really should just be all the way... Hey, they mask mandate in California this week. You know, so it depends. It's business to business kind of thing. It's cool when I go into a place and they're like, nothing. It's like, okay, yeah. I kind of I don't know what to do yet. I'm, like, confused at how I should approach it, because I do food delivery. So, like, I don't want to deliver to someone who's still, like, oh, my God, you know? And then I get a bad fucking review because I didn't have a mask on. And then you have people who don't care. So it's like I have to be... I'm still kind of masking to like, not fuck with my business, my customer service business shit like that. Yeah, it's touchy for me, but yeah, I do think there should be kind of we should just, you know, we'll see what happens here. It's pretty much there, you know, it's there, like, so we'll see how things go. I don't know. I'd like to go do some shit now. Always been more of a you know, stay in and watch something kind of person, even before the pandemic. It's like, oh shit, we gotta stay in when the pandemic happened. We gotta just stay inside? Like, Oh shit! What? Oh, all right. The fuck? I don't know. Okay, whatever. I do that anyway. It's not. Yeah, I don't know. Some people, it was like a nightmare for them. And even for me, I need to go do shit. It's not like I'm just always, So I felt it too, but I'm not as much as other people, I'm sure. Trying to think of what else I can update on. There's nothing really. I'm still watching all the same stuff. What else? I mean, we can move on, move right into the next thing here. I wanted to. There was something. But as fucking usual, I'm gonna forget because I didn't write it down. Remember to bring this up. Blah 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 blah. The draft, my new segment. Won't be doing it while it's recap season, as I call it. When I got recaps, that's the segment. That's the extra segment of the episode. So the draft is a segment for when there's no recaps. We won't be doing the draft while I'm doing Loki recaps. And I still keep thinking about if I'm gonna change it, like when Hawkeye, do I just wait till the season's over, then talk about the whole season at once? Sometimes it seems like that's the way to go. But I kind of like this idea of trying to figure it out together thing. Not that I have a huge audience to really work it out with, but it's still something that I enjoy doing because I'm thinking about it. The show has always been whatever's in my head as the week goes on. I just kind of bring it out here, so that fits that format. All right. Yes. Let's do our Loki episode 2 recap. Episode 2 recap of Loki, which was low-key. I've been waiting to do that joke, and it's so bad. It was low-key the best episode of the Marvel shows. Low-key episode. Spoiler-filled recap as usual. Let's go. Let's just kind of break down what happened and what I thought real quick, and we'll keep things moving kind of smoothly if we can. So yeah, it's more that kind of episode. People wanted to see things really happening, some action, some twists and turns. That we got that here. It wasn't just a story episode or a character episode. This was the one. This immediately episode 2 was more the energy people wanted, I think, from the first one. That's not to take away from how important the first one was and how good the first one was, but this one really immediately kind of, whoa, holy shit, so, and there's still 4 more this week coming up, which will be in a couple days for people seeing this or listening to this right now. Yeah, it's crazy because now it used to be Fridays, and then it was kind of still fresher. I feel like with the Wednesday release, it's weird that my recap is so many days later than the episode, but I'm not going to change it's already a lot. I'm not going to switch it up for that, which I'll get into some of the news too with what Disney Plus is doing, because they're changing their whole thing up with that too. Because Loki has been very popular, very successful, and it's a long time. Doesn't it feel like it's been a long time coming for something like this? Loki has such an invigorating, wild energy in anything he's in that a story centered on him it feels like something we've needed, and I felt that this week. Just that, and the humor too. The mischief, right? The plot twists, the weirdness, right? All that comes into play with a Loki-centered series or story, or whatever. And I love this. I really do. It's moving up and up the list for me. But this one, also played more with the dynamic of just Loki and Mobius, I think, which was great, because Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston's chemistry, their dynamic, the whole thing, I really love the two of them, and they work so well together, and I think that's where, obviously, it's where most of the laughs come from. I was laughing. There were some good moments there, but also just playing with the idea of two characters that are so different from each other, yet still kind of that they have similarities, but they're differing perspectives, which we get I think the scene between the two of them where they just kind of exchange their perspectives and express their beliefs and what motivates them and what they believe their purposes are, right? Just the kind of exchanging of perspectives between each other was the most important scene in this episode. Story moment, plot moment. Now, character moment. Plot moment was the twist. There was obviously the twist, which was the most important. The reveal, I guess. Not the twist, but the reveal at the end of the episode, which is obviously a very important scene. But I think in terms of character, low-key. See, there it is again. Low-key. Low-key. Hey. Stop. No. Donut. You're distracting me. Stop growling. There's nothing to growl at. Come on, kid. What are you doing to me here in the middle of this? Hey! Don't make me yell. Damn it. Hey! It doesn't matter. I could do that all day. She won't stop. When she's got it in her head, it doesn't matter. So, apologies for the growling if you can hear it. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter. I hear everything, and then when I watch it later, it's not as loud as I hear it. It's still distracting me, though. So I think that was low-key in this episode, the most important scene. And then they started to dig deeper into how everything works. They were throwing phrases around, sentences, like words, to kind of explain how this all works with the sacred timeline and like variants and all how this, and it got a little, I'd have to go through it again to really kind of try and grasp it even more, but I think I'm still pretty much on track with how that works from what I said last week. That pretty much, I'm still not 100%, obviously. I'm not sure if I'm right about this idea of there being multiple realities already, but then how can there be multiple Lokis, which they fully open the doors on here. We see literal holograms of multiple iterations of Loki. Where are they all coming? Are they all created through events that come from Nexus moments, like points where Loki? It doesn't seem like it seems more likely that there are multiple realities within one sacred timeline. But the thing that the TVA fears, is this idea of creating this chaotic, like, super multiverse where a bunch of branch realities kind of just, and then it causes the kind of destruction of everything. Not to say that that's 100% how that works, but that is exactly how Lady Loki, right? The reveal. Donut, please stop growling. Please stop growling. Dogs, man. It doesn't fucking matter what you say. And what is it she even hears, man? Someone walking for a second. Come on. It's actually distracting me from being... Fuck, man. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's the big thing that the TVA wants to prevent, is this idea of like a big, giant multiverse. And we learn who the variant is, which Loki it is. And it's Lady Loki. It's the female version of Loki from, it's got to be from another reality, right? this show is kind of showing us that there's the potential for multiple iterations of every character we've ever met. Is that not what we are learning here? And so, yeah, Lady Loki's attack is exactly that. Her whole plan is this idea of attacking the TVA with, like, a multiverse bomb, basically, using their own tech against them to create that chaos multiverse, right? And that's where they leave us, with this cliffhanger kind of moment. Not just with her revealing herself and pulling that move, but also Loki following her and chasing her to wherever she went. I also think it's cool how, while I was watching it, I figured out what they were going to do with the whole idea of the apocalypse and how you can fuck with anything before an apocalypse. I was, like, figuring that out as they were going through it. This idea of the apocalypse, where you can jump into a time, any time before a natural occurring apocalypse, and fuck with anything, and it's not going to create a nexus moment. It's not going to create a branch reality, because everything gets destroyed. You can do anything you want right before, and that was cool. That it makes sense too, right? Makes you wonder how. It also just makes you wonder, like, all the events we've ever seen, ever in the MCU, how many, like, variants were hanging around, like, just popping in. How was the TVA around for things? Like, well, it just makes you think about all that kind of stuff. I mean, we already saw, like, how time travel, I mean, as soon as it's invented, and to say invented, by the way, is I mean, we just all assume Tony Stark, wow, he invented time travel, but it's, the TVA is, like, well beyond any technology that Tony Stark invented in Endgame. Like, they already do that, kind of. They travel through time and do stuff all the time. So, but in Endgame, this idea of them being there was immediately something we all thought about. But it's not even like that, right? Because when you go back in time, you immediately, anything you change immediately creates a branch reality. And the TVA didn't intervene. They didn't intervene with the Avengers because they could see the future, that the Avengers, that Captain America would go back and fix everything so that there are no branch realities. There's no nexus moments that they accidentally create. Smart that they knew how to keep that from happening without even knowing exactly what it is, or I guess what it's called, the terminology of it that the TVA uses. Why does that matter, the terminology? They knew not to fucking leave things the way they were, because they would create a whole bunch of... The thing is, yeah, it's crazy, too, because they do accidentally create a nexus moment when they let Loki escape, which leads to this story now. That was a nexus moment, and it's crazy, man. This fucking... Lady Loki seems to be... She could very well be the superior Loki. And this bothers the shit out of Loki, as we have seen. Like, he wants to pursue her more than anything, to just kind of figure her out even more and see if he can potentially... It bothers him that he can't be the superior Loki. You know, he's been unable to outsmart... This idea of, like, their fate, the Loki fate is destined to fail. This idea that you'll always be a side character in someone else's story who just comes in and messes things up and then inevitably fails is something that Lady Loki and our Loki is trying to kind of break the trend of. They'd rather actually be the heroes of their own story for once and succeed. And so there's a part of Loki, I think, following her in to wherever she goes at the end of that episode. Is part of it is I'm following a version of myself that could transcend all I've ever done and been. And maybe I can learn to actually succeed for once if I follow this path of, I don't know, I guess superiority. Or interesting to think about. And then I mean, we'll see what Lady Loki's motivations are. We still don't exactly know. what she's trying to do 100%. But I'm not taking it off the table at all. This idea that the TVA, it could potentially be revealed to be the actual antagonists here, and Lady Loki's less bad than we initially are supposed to think. That always seems to be a thing. This twist of roles. TVA's not revealing everything that there's no full truth there, and we're gonna learn it, and then it's like, oh shit, they're actually fucked up or something, and the attack that Lady Loki's even doing is actually for the better in a way. There's a possibility of that, of course. I also thought about how WandaVision could connect to things. Somebody else brought this up about this possibly connecting to the post-credit scene of WandaVision, where she's kind of using magic to listen to other dimensions, maybe, and she hears her kids, I guess, suppose from another dimension, and to think about how it could potentially have been what Lady Loki just did that causes Wanda to even be able to hear them, because maybe she created a multiverse of where they exist again or so, but there's possibly already a reality where they already exist. And to think about Wanda's powers and how they naturally have the ability to manipulate reality. I mean, she fucking gave Monica Rambeau superpowers, for crying out loud. She has the ability to manipulate reality. So how does that fuck with things? How does that get on the TVA's radar? How does she make sirens less loud when they... Every fucking little thing. While I'm recording, every fucking little thing has to happen while I'm recording something. I think the dog finally stopped. Christ. And that's something I wanted to think about too. I mean, don't forget Wanda's a Nexus being. So that's kind of a big deal. I don't know. I don't have like a deep breakdown for this episode. It's pretty straightforward. Everything I've touched on. What else is there? Oh, there's a little hint of something. Renslayer saying to Mobius. Was it Rens? Am I confusing the character names? I hope not. Mobius's boss mentions how another agent gave that to me. In the comics, Mobius turns out to be like a bunch of Mobiuses, like clones that the TVA uses to do its jobs and shit. I'm curious if it's actually another Mobius that gave her that was it the pen they were talking about? Yeah. What else happened in this episode? I loved that whole fucking Pompeii sequence. Was hilarious. And then there's a chance that Kid Loki was already hinted at. The whole thing with the candy is consistent. Like, this whole thing with the candy made me think that our variant's Kid Loki and it ends up being Lady Loki. But Kid Loki is important because he ends up being a super important, legit full-time member of the Young Avengers. And we're going to see him. We're going to have to see him. And we'll see how that plays out. I think there's a chance the candy hints to a youthful energy, a youthful character. Therefore, Kid Loki possibly hinted at. What do you think? How'd I do? Did we do good? Are we going to make it? Moving on to the news of this week, which started slow but then picked up at the end there. So we do have some things to bring up. And I'll start with the whole Marvel Disney Plus thing that they're doing. Let's be clear about Loki. It, ratings-wise, blew the charts off the water. What the fuck? Blew the lid off the table. Blew the roof off. There it is. Almost got it. Blew the how the turntable. It really just, it was like some of their best viewership was for Loki's premiere on Wednesday. So now they've changed all their upcoming releases to Wednesdays instead of Fridays. But they also should keep in mind that it's Loki, it's Marvel Studios, it's the MCU narrative that people are so attached to, hooked in on. That's probably part of the reason why it was such big view. You know, you can't expect the same numbers from everything you release on going forward. So it's not the day that matters. That's how I used to watch everything. It would be weekly. I would watch everything weekly as they would come out. Whatever show it was, be Tuesday, be something Wednesday. During the week stuff is it's 100% a format that seems like it makes sense. People want to watch something at the end of a work day. They got work the next day. They want to relax at the end of the night. You know, they want to watch something and go to bed, and you know, it makes sense, I think. Friday makes less sense. People want to go out and do something on Friday night, right? So I still think it makes sense. But yeah, they're changing everything going forward. Monsters at work. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming. What am I hearing? That's all been switched to Wednesday. They're not changing the Bad Batch. I think that's still going to be Friday because it's already out. And they're going to keep doing Fridays for that. I wonder if they'll... What was... Mandalorian was every Friday, right? I wonder if Mandalorian will be Wednesdays when it comes back. Book of Boba Fett is the next thing coming for Star Wars live action at the end of this year. Not Mandalorian Season 3. Mandalorian Season 3 will be sometime next year. And then they have the other shows coming. Shit, like the amount of shit. But I wonder if all that stuff will be on Wednesdays now. That is what they have changed this past week. What else did we see? The Flash. This was just in today, pretty much, I think. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti, revealed the official logo, but also the official first look at the costume of Supergirl. Is it Supergirl? Superwoman. That's in the Flash movie. There's a few characters in the Flash movie. And, yeah, well, that movie's been a long time coming, man. So I'm very curious to see how it plays out. But, yeah, that was cool. Check those out. And, Vin Diesel teases potential Dom Toretto spin-off solo films for Furious, whatever, fucking Fast Saga bullshit. Jesus Christ. If they did a trilogy or something with just Dom at the center and they fucking just would change the titles. I'm so sick of... I mean, when you look at the poster for this one, it's F9, The Fast Saga. It's so corny a fucking title, man. I can't stand numbered shit unless it's like part 2, and if it's and that only works up to 3. If you're doing part 4, stop. Yeah, like, I can't stand if it's just subtitle it. I've talked about this before. But to think also it now to make it like as if we don't fucking know what F9 is, they also put the Fast Saga underneath, which is also corny. The Fast Saga? This thing started out as Fast and Furious. It's like the word Furious just went away, and then it's the Fast Saga. It's just whatever. I just have no interest in that movie. How about this? Hiroyuki Sanada, who you would know from many things. He was just recently in Mortal Kombat, right? He played Scorpion. Is joining John Wick Chapter 4. Awesome. Donnie Yen's already been casted in that as well. We'll see. I'm curious what characters we've seen or will see might appear in the TV series that they're doing. Is it the Continental? Or the prequel about the hotel? And that I'm really looking forward to. I'm curious what other characters will show up besides Ian McShane's character, who I think it's centered on him. So there was that. There's an American Gigolo series starring John Bernthal being made for Showtime. Interesting. Comedian Sebastian Maniscalco and his family set to do a kind of around the world foodie kind of reality show. That's interesting. I like him. I like his comedy. I like his heritage and his family oriented values and all of it. Like, it's the whole Sicilian Italian. I think them, actually, him, his dad, his wife, like, they're doing like this whole kind of reality TV food tour thing. Like, that could be funny and cool. It's actually a piece of reality TV I'm interested in. Disney Plus. I already said that. And then I posted about this, and it came up, and other people have seen this. But Tyrese Gibson, who co-stars in Morbius, I can't get over the fact that Marvel named two of their characters so fucking similarly. There's Mobius in the Loki show, and then there's Morbius, who's a Spider-Man villain. All they did was take away an R, or add an R, depending on which one came out first. It's so lazy. People are going to get confused by that going forward. But Tyrese Gibson says that Morbius is part of the MCU. It all comes down to this idea of multiple realities again, dude. Maybe Morbius takes place in this main reality. Because, I mean, he runs into Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Michael Keaton's Vulture from the MCU. So, probably just exists in this timeline. But there's also this idea of having multiple timelines again. So there's that, too, to play with, potentially. I'm looking forward to Morbius because I like Jared Leto's... I like the casting. I like the character. Going forward, too, this as the supernatural cornerstone of the MCU starts to open up more with Moon Knight and Blade. And I just think it's gonna be really cool, dude, and I can't wait to have Ghost Rider kind of come back into the fold again. Like, all of that stuff is very... that might be the coolest shit that comes out, man. I hope they kind of tonally do it right. They should be allowed to stray away from that kind of PG-13 tone they always have, you know? They should be able to maybe go grittier with some of these. Some of these stories deserve that, I think. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Beauty and the Beast Disney Plus prequel series ordered, and adds Brianna Middleton in the key role. I don't know. Does that mean she's playing Beauty? I don't know. Disney's got plenty of IP to work with. No shortage. This is a good update since I've been waiting to see how this is going to start playing out. I love it, and I'm so, like, conflicted about this because I want to work on this show so fucking bad, dude. This should be how I start my career. God, if only they... how do I get it? No unsolicited fucking... How do I get it to... I wrote a fucking pilot that's so... Assassin's Creed live action Netflix series has some movement now. They've hired die-hard writer Jeb Stewart to work on the series. Okay, why? I don't know. All right. Has he worked lately? I don't even know. Anyway, that's interesting. They have movement. We have movement, people. Oh, yeah. God. Valhalla's got me hooked. I play that on the weekends. Knives Out 2 has added another cast member, Jessica Henwick. Love Jessica Henwick. Dude, the fucking daughter of the dragon herself, the Iron Fist, has joined Matrix. She joined Matrix 4 recently, and now she is in Knives Out 2. Yeah, she's great. She's great. That's cool casting. I posted it up, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, that has quite the cast. It's insane. Who's in that? I can't wait to see what Ryan Johnson has cooking up for us with that one. Yeah. I hope they don't call it Knives Out 2 either. Like, totally retitle it. Don't even have Knives Out in the title. Just totally... Because Knives Out was thematically connected to the first film with the whole... This idea, the whole thing with the knives, and there was an actual reason for the title that might not still pertain to this story that the second one is. So I think actually renaming it entirely is the way to go. But who the fuck am I to tell Ryan Johnson what he should do? Well, I'm Ben Morganti. That's who I am. I'm telling Ryan Johnson he should not title it the same. Ned Beatty, legendary actor, died recently at 83. Rest in peace. And more good news for the box office. You know, that siren is unnecessary. Just horn people. It's loud enough to horn people. Quiet Place Part 2 crossed $100 million domestically, which is very good in this pandemic era. Let's fucking move on, because it's been a shit show of interruptions, I feel like. Maybe that's all in my head, but you guys don't see the interruptions either. I had to cut when someone fucking called me in the middle of it. Friday nights. If people, and this is a friend too, so immediately know that he doesn't watch the show, because I always bring it up on the fucking show. Anyone who actually watches the show knows. I've said it, I've even posted. Friday night is the night. I record on Friday night. On Friday night, I might as well not exist. Just don't. And I can say all of this. I can straight out insult him if I want right now. He's not gonna watch it because he don't fucking watch it. Clearly, if he did, he'd know. So our topic this week was Luca. Yeah, our topic this week was Luca. I just watched it. It was so cute of fucking Pixar. Dude, Pixar does not fucking fail me or anyone else. Their movies are just so good. Literally right after it ended too, Soul popped up, and I totally forgot that I just watched and talked about Soul pretty recently too, and how fucking good that was. What is shaking? What am I hitting? What is it? I don't want to hear it anymore. God damn. I guess it's just the chair. Shit. It's one of those days, huh? I'm fucking hot, too. What am I wearing this for? I've also noticed I've done every combination and iteration of clothing that I have. It's just repeating all the time. Like, I'm wearing the same shit every time. Just spread out over... I need more... I need fucking a whole new fucking... I need to fucking totally overhaul my wardrobe right now. I've been meaning to... I can't just go throw money on clothes. I just can't do it. I mean, I could. I don't know. Whatever. The merch drop is official, by the way, for patrons. You'll see me wearing it, too, on the show. But they're coming. For the patrons, they're coming. Yeah, it's official. They're moving. It's happening. Exciting. Cool. It's cool, too. It's what it is. So, our topic for episode 59 this week is Luca. And, Yeah, Pixar does not fail. I think it's just the way that they always seem to hit all the right beats. They structure it so like hero's journey, like it's so basic, but it works for their their like super imaginative stories that they do for, which for kids it's so great. Like any kid ever growing up in any era. I mean, Pixar was born when I was born. I grew up with it. Most of us did, in this generation. Like, they always just they fucking raised us, these movies, and they're raising this next generation just as much because their films continue to just be, anyone can watch them, and they're so moving. I love every new concept they come up with. If And this one, I love when I go in and I don't know anything either. The only thing I knew about this one was that it took place in Italy, because I think I read it. And I thought, okay, that's cool, because I loved when Ratatouille was in France. I love the cultured shit. It's so great. And the Italian thing is, like, there's an obvious connection for me and my family as being Italian. But I loved that. And that was great all the time. I love when they're just throwing out all the phrases. Everything. Aspetta. Mangiamo. Like, everything. It's a good... For kids, I was thinking about it. Like, how kids will learn a little bit of Italian from this movie. Just from that. I'd love to... Like, I can see my sister even just quoting it. Like, Silenzio Bruno. And it's so funny, and it's so, like, and there's always that one heart pulling moment, always at least one heart pulling moment, and I had one. There was one here, at least, and always funny, always fun, with a nice ending, always just feel good movies. And the idea about this one is like there's mer people or sea monsters, as they're called. And they exist, and they always have, and they live under the ocean, and they were born and they live under the ocean. But when they leave the water, they can literally just shed their water persona, and it's just their people. They're just regular people when they leave the water. And so immediately we have this and a lot of the Italian stuff comes into it too. This idea, it's very relatable. This idea of very like overbearing, like pampering kind of mother figure, which is a thing. It's just a thing. Like that's always been a thing. Like with a lot of Italian mothers and grandmothers, that's like very relatable. We have that, and this idea, and so it plays with the idea that this theme that's always kind of recurring. This idea of like freedom versus family, kind of like growing up and going out and kind of leaving the nest, kind of thing, right? Or being kind of stuck. At home, you always love your family, but you don't want to get tied down. We want to go and you want to do and experience and live and do things. And so that's immediately everyone's gonna connect to that. That's the main thread of this. And our main character Luca is dealing with that. His parents want him to, they shelter him. They want him. They feed him all these lies about the surface world, about how it's dangerous and we don't ever go near it or leave the ocean, or we stay away from it entirely. And he wants to explore and go and see the world. And he meets Alberto, which hilarious character, the best. Loved Alberto, just so funny. There's so many good little one-liners, everything, so funny. He meets Alberto, who is totally comfortable leaving the ocean. He does it all the time, and he kind of lives on his own. No parents. So immediately he represents this idea of freedom, and Luca represents this idea of family. And there's their obvious contrast where like Luca has family, but they're overbearing. And Alberto has no family, and this is a hole inside him that he kind of regresses. and pushes away from. This idea of getting close to anyone, or feeling stuck, or he wants to kind of run away from it. I think part of his, abandoned psyche is that he wants to actually go out and maybe even find what he's missing, but he's afraid. He's afraid to. I don't know. It was. They had a good. I immediately saw that being that was an immediate. Okay, that's going to be a point of conflict for the characters at some point in the film, and of course it was the main point of conflict for them. At the end of Act 2, the down and out moment where they kind of fight and they just. There's the whole thing there. And then it even plays with the idea of, it touches on prejudice, and how the sea monster people are hunted by regular people, by fishermen and everything, and how and this idea of being scared of the sea monsters it's almost very relatable for this idea of anyone with any prejudice being kind of scared of change, almost, which is just so ignorant or kind of like childish, naive, something like that. But yeah, even a movie like this can play with those themes, and they're important and they resonate. They will always resonate. Those are very important things to touch on. I think it's interesting that a Pixar movie can touch on them in such a different way, in a unique way. But this idea of just striving for something, and it's as simple as trying to be free. And what would be more freeing than to live as you are and do what you want? That's what the epitome of this is. That's what we come to. That's the conclusion. Is being accepted for who you are and doing what you love, and going and living your life. And that's what Luca does. And he's a figure for any person dealing with feeling like the underdog or the outcast, who wants to go and do something but is afraid of how people might judge them, or any of these things, which I can relate to. I've always had those insecurities, and that's what this touches on, and it resonates. And he gets to be a sea monster and is accepted by people for it, and he gets to go to school at the end and go and start a life and do things. I think that was really just powerful stuff. And he builds friendships. Friendship's like an essential theme of this. Luca and Alberto, Luca and Julia, Luca, Alberto, and Julia, all of that. And it just, I just found myself smiling a lot, totally sucked in, and enjoyed it. That's always seems to be the case with any Pixar movie I watch. Yeah, and this one was one of the better ones too. This one was right up there. I always say how shocked I was at how much I loved Onward. This one did the same thing. I didn't know really what it was about, and it just took me for a ride, and it was just fun to watch. And I recommend it. It's so great that sometimes Disney Plus will do it a certain way, and they'll do it like this. Luca is not in theaters, actually. It is exclusively on Disney Plus. It came out today on Disney Plus, and you can go watch it right now on Disney Plus. I'm gonna recommend it because I'm done here. My dad needs to see it. My sister needs to see it. It's so good. I didn't think about what I would rate it, so we'll do that now. Oh, I wanted to check who voiced these characters, because I didn't get around to that at all, and I was curious about it the whole time. Do you mind if I do it now, real quick, while I'm on here with you? Well, how about this? The ball's in my court when we're in this arena. So, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna look it up. Wow, look at that. I'm typing in Onward. It's not the one. It's not the one we watched today. It was Luca. Luca. Alberto Schiaffone. I loved all that Italian shit. It was funny. My favorite was like, what does that mean? And he doesn't answer the thing you just said. Oh yeah, Jacob Tremblay was Luca. Where did I see him recently? Oh, Bad Boys. Was it Bad Boys? Not Bad Boys. Good Boys. Good Boys, the comedy with the kids. The main kid, blonde-haired kid. That was it. Playing Luca. Jack Dylan. Who's it? Jack Dylan Grazer is Alberto. Where do I know him from? I don't know if I know him. Emma Berman. Emma Berman is Julia. Emma Berman. Didn't I just say that she's playing... Maya Rudolph was the mother? Yeah. Jim Gaffigan. There's Lorenzo. You always have that same kind of antagonist character. Sacha Baron Cohen played Uncle Ugo. I did not know that at all. Did not see that coming. That's a fun cast. Anyway, I give it an 8.7 out of 10. It was great. Go watch it. Go watch it. Moving on. Let's do our fun fact, our behind the scenes, our behind the camera, our next episode of Behind the Camera. And let's keep it animated this week, but stray away from Pixar. How about that? So just for a moment, we'll move away from Pixar entirely. The 2001 classic Shrek, which was the first ever animated film to win the category of Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, has an interesting overall history that even I didn't know. Shrek started out as a picture book for kids in 1990, written by an 83-year-old cartoonist named William Stegg. And the film rights were actually picked up by Steven Spielberg in 1991. Spielberg originally wanted Bill Murray to play Shrek and Steve Martin to play Donkey, and was all ready to put the film into production. But it didn't get off the ground until many years later, and a lot can change over a decade. In fact, it took a producer's kids to finally give Shrek the attention it deserved. When John H. Williams was approached by his children with the book, and they loved it so much, it forced Williams to finally give it its proper chance. Chris Farley was originally cast as Shrek. He even recorded 90% of his dialogue before passing away in 1997. That version of the film was also much different, following a teenage Shrek who wanted to become a knight. Interesting. With Farley's death, the studio wanted to recast, and in the time it took to do so, the film was significantly changed. Actors like Nicolas Cage, Tom Cruise, and even Leonardo DiCaprio were all considered for the role before Mike Myers was cast. Thank God that he was, and none of the other guys were. Myers intentionally decided to give Shrek a Scottish accent after seeing a rough cut of the animation, and apparently it cost an extra $4 million to redo the recordings the way he wanted to do it, although that's not been 100% confirmed. There is no denying the success of Shrek. It not only saved DreamWorks Animation, but gave it a face, allowing films like Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, and How to Train Your Dragon to all follow. Shrek is an amazing story. End of story. Bye-bye. See you later.
Ugh, it's hideous! Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
Indeed.
And we will do our poll this week, our question, our debate, our segment of conversation, which I always love to do and post. People get into it sometimes. This past week was the zombie one, which was a good one. This week, I'm going to do something a little off the beaten track, because it's so obvious, I think, sometimes, the ones I do. How about this? Who is your favorite, or who is the best supporting Pixar character? So not main character, but supporting. Is it Rex from Toy Story? Is it Ham or Potato Head? Is it Heimlich or Francis from A Bug's Life? Is it George Sanderson from Monsters, Inc., who finally had enough of those 2319s? 2319! Maybe it's Edna Mode or Frozone. Or maybe it's Bruce or Gil from Finding Nemo. Plenty to choose from. Some of the Cars characters, Mater, I don't know. It could be anybody. But who is it for you? For me, I think it is probably Frozone. I mean, Sam Jackson kills that role, you know. Where is my super suit? Yeah. I will post that for everybody. My recommendations this week are kind of a little bit of everything. Family friendly, but also very much not family friendly, but animated still. Look, the reason I say that is because the first and only thing I really want to recommend to people this week is the Harley Quinn cartoon on HBO. Okay, on HBO Max, the Harley Quinn series. Cartoon, yes. For kids, absolutely not. Okay? The whole upcoming Batman and Catwoman scene that's been all anyone can talk about lately. It's all the debate about this whole thing. There's a scene where Batman goes down on Catwoman. No fucking joke. That alone proves that it's very much not for kids. But it's actually really good, and I recommend it. It's funny, and it's fun to watch, and I would definitely go check it out. There's 2 seasons. The 3rd season's coming out. Yeah, and the one Pixar movie I always recommend for people, always want people to see, is Onward right now, because I think of how much it shocked me. I really enjoyed it a lot. Probably because I loved the casting, too. I really loved Tom Holland and Chris Pratt in that movie. So I think that's a big part of it for me, is sometimes the voices really do it for me, who they cast. But I loved the concept, and it hit, that one hit home sometimes, and that's the one I always recommend. So, for movie, that's what I'm recommending. Kept it Pixar. I don't have much else. I have a comic recommendation for you. Shifted it over to a galaxy far, far away, because it's a lot of what I'm reading right now. I will try not to always be recommending Star Wars shit every week, because there's a lot I could. So I'll spread it out as best I can. But I haven't done one yet, so at least I don't think I have. Darth Vader, Dark Heart of the Sith is a really awesome deep dive into the psyche of Vader and his inner turmoils after he revealed the truth of who he is to Luke at the end of Empire Strikes Back. So it takes place in between Empire and Return, and it's really good, and I definitely recommend it. Good read. So that's it this week. Good episode, aside from me having to edit out the fucking shit that I gotta, whatever. I was making such good time today, too. That's gonna add a little to it. I don't care, whatever. What is with the complaining, dude? Shut the fuck up, man. This is it. This is what I enjoy doing this. Why does the timing of it... You know why the timing of it matters so much to me all the time? Is because I'm always just... Fridays, I go to bed at like 4 in the morning every Friday. Get up at 11 on Saturdays, which I hate. The whole fucking day is gone, in my opinion, when you're getting up later than 9:30. it's just too late. I wanted to try. I'm still doing good on time. I'm gonna try to go to bed at least 1 tonight. As always, got a shout out to the patrons because I super appreciate their support, and they made the merch drop possible in a lot of ways. So, you want to become a patron too? You gotta go to patreon.com/preacher and join the Screen Preacher clan. Join the Screen Preach clan. Whatever the fuck I'm calling it. There's no. But yeah, you'll get the season 3 merch drop next year. You'll get, and the tiers break it down. You can do it if I get a patron does a tier, what's in that tier, I'm gonna fucking do it, and it'll be on the show and everything. It's up to you. In that case, in talking about becoming a patron, the ball is in your court. Okay? Billy Thomas, Jessica Murphy, Michael Morganti, Tijon Construction, Doolin Morganti, Linda Morganti. Thank you for being the best of the best. Let's get some more. Why not? I need some sponsors on here. I need some fucking sponsors. Alright, that's it. You know the drill. Follow me at the Benji. Follow the show at Screen Preach. And check out my website at benmorgantistory.com. There's anything I've done thus far will be up on there for anyone to read. The previews anyway. If you want the full scripts, you can always reach out to me. But I'll be working on the project I'm working on now for as long as I want and as long as it takes. It's be something that it's kind of been the project I've been working up to for a long time. It's been a long time coming. The one I'm working on now. I'll be working on it just because I want it to be. But so you won't see that for a while, but part of it's because I'm super busy, but part of it is because I'd like to try it a different way this time. Really take my time. Really, really take my... it'll be in between everything else I can think of for a while that I just slowly work on this and really think about how it needs to go. And then subscribe to BMS Studios on YouTube to find weekly episodes and other content, of course. As always, thanks for listening and or watching, guys. Have a cinematic